You just need to relax and stop overreacting.
Murdered this man.
Yes,
You tortured him.
of course.
Women tend to be more unhappily married than men. Guys often think everything's fine.
As a married woman who's been with my husband now for 15 years, it's true. Getting married and having kids, I lost myself. Like the older generation of women that was married, they didn't tell us the truth, right? When you think back to the older generation, even think about the TV shows that we was watching. Think about Good Times or Leave It to Beaver. What was the mother? What was the wife? She was just a stay-at-home mom who cooked, clean, put the kids' needs before hers, put her husband's needs before hers, made sure everybody was taken care of. She had nothing else going on outside of home. That's the biggest mistake you could ever make in marriage. And that's why I was so miserable in the beginning in mine. I went from being independent, doing everything on my own, making good money, to having a husband and kids. My whole life just stopped. Everything stopped. And it felt like everything just continued on with his, right? So I became angry. I knew I was bitter. I had a lot of resentment, and I took it out on him. I was miserable in my marriage. My marriage didn't get better until I got back to me, because I love my husband and I love my kids, but I'm more than just a wife and a mother. And that's no shade to the stay-at-home moms, because I always said this. Being a stay-at-home mom, you work 10 times harder than just going out there and making that fucking money. I'm being honest with you. It's no job like a stay-at-home mom. So my hat's off to the mothers. But I know for me, I wasn't built for a stay-at-home mom, because I just wasn't built for that. I was miserable. I'm the type of person where I don't like being tied down or restricted, And with my marriage, that's what I felt. Once I got back to the basics, which was me, putting me first, putting my needs on, and saying I'm an individual and I'm going to go out there and live out my dreams and do what I need to do for me, then my marriage started to thrive. And on top of keeping God in it, because God was missing in my marriage as well. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't praying. I wasn't praying for my husband. I was just angry. I was bitter. I knew I was depressed. I had all type of mental problems. It's real. It's real. But marriage can be a beautiful thing, and it is a beautiful thing, especially with the right person and with, in my opinion, with God in it, and having something going on outside of your marriage, like living out your life and your dreams, and both of y'all are team partners and y'all tag teaming. It can be beautiful. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not no hater when it comes down to marriage, because I've been with my husband for 15 years. But yeah, it's definitely some truth to it, if you're doing it the wrong way too.
A woman in her 30s who doesn't have romantic love, it's like the greatest tragedy ever. Poor Lisa never found romantic love, and now she's in her 40s and she has cats. What a tragedy. Guess what? Lisa's just fine. All of the research shows the following. Men need and benefit from relationships much more than women. Widows are happier after their husband dies. True. This is true. Women do live longer in relationships. They live 2 to 4 years longer. Men live 4 to 7 years longer. If a man hasn't cohabitated with a woman or been married by the time he's 30, there's a 1 in 3 chance he'll be a substance abuser. When women don't have a romantic relationship, oftentimes pour a lot of that energy back into their friend network and their professional lives. When men don't have a relationship, they pour a lot of that energy back into online content, nationalism, misogyny, anti-immigration. They start blaming other people for their problems. In my 20s, 30s, and even into my 40s, I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. Everything was about more. No matter how much money, I want more money. Just never quite sated. And the only time I have ever felt sated is when I'm with my boys and my partner, and we're all on the couch, where I know they're safe, I know they're protected, I know they're loved. It's the only time I've ever had a moment where I thought, okay, I get it. This is it. This is enough. It is the most unexpected means of finding purpose and meaning in my life.
Hey, King, somebody got to say this to y'all. A real woman does not care about the amount of bills you have paid or the amount of money you spent if you have not satisfied 3 conditions. First condition, that you've made her feel loved and secure. Second condition, that she can trust your leadership. Third condition, that she can trust you around other women when she's not around. If you have not satisfied any one of those three things, the amount of money that you spend means nothing, okay? Listen, I can only teach and preach from this because I've went through it, I've had to learn from it, and part of being a kingdom man is being accountable for the ways that we didn't lead our families the right way so that we can lead our families the right way, okay? Men want to be providers, I get it. We want to sacrifice everything and provide everything, but I think a lot of times, and ladies, by the way, men only want to feel appreciated, okay? I'm giving you all the cheat code. If you want your man to do everything for you, just make him feel appreciated. The moment he don't feel appreciated, he will become a stonewall, and that's something that's not good. And fellas, it's the same thing for your woman. A lot of times we get so wrapped up in the grind and the work that we forget, man, I got a woman at home that needs my love, my non-sexual touch, my affection, my security. We forget that my children need my love, my affection, my security, because all we can think about is the work. And I'm here to tell y'all that is one of the easiest ways to lose your girlfriend or your spouse, by thinking that the only thing that you have to do is provide. It takes so much more than putting food on the table to lead your family in the right way. So today I need you to self-examine. I appreciate the fact that you are willing to do whatever to sacrifice for your family when it comes to money, but what else could you be doing outside of money that you aren't?
Men won't tell you this, but I will. I was a madam for 5 years. My client list is over 10,000 names. But what I'm going to tell you doesn't just come from those men. Before being a madam, I was vice president of a $5 billion hedge fund. I know this might trigger some people, but I hope to open your eyes. The truth is, marriage is a scam for most women. Marriage is the biggest financial partnership you will ever have in your life. It is a business relationship, which is why there's a legally binding contract. But many women enter dating relationships and their marriage based off of how that person makes us feel, while men enter these things much more logically. We're over here planning our wedding, thinking about our dress, while he's thinking about his assets. Many women date men who they wouldn't give a job to. Think about that. You wouldn't hire this guy because he doesn't have the characteristics for an employee that you would want to hire. I'm not saying not to get married, but look at it for what it actually is. It's a business relationship, and evaluate your partner accordingly. I'm going to end up making more posts on this because there's a number of reasons why marriage is a scam for women. But if this resonated with you and you want to hear more, leave me a comment below.
You don't have a bad wife. You have a wife who's tired of feeling invisible. You walk in, you barely acknowledge her. You're on the phone, locked into work, distracted with everything but her. And then you're surprised and wonder why she's distant, why she's cold, uninterested. Neglect isn't just forgetting her birthday or skipping date night. It's the daily dismissals, the silence, the way she feels like she's competing with your phone, your work, even your hobbies. She was never supposed to beg for attention in her own marriage. And don't sit there and say, well, she knows I love her. Because love without action feels like neglect. God called you to cherish her, not coexist with her. And if she has to remind you that she exists, you're already losing her. She's not pulling away because she's just moody. She's responding to your indifference. You treat her like a background character in your own life. And then you wonder why she doesn't act like your biggest fan. Pursuit does not stop after I do. It's proof that you meant it. A wife who feels unseen won't always complain, but one day, she just won't care. You say you would die for her, then start living like she matters.
I want to know from women over 35 if cohabitating with men is really worth it.
It's been said before, but I'll say it again. Marriage isn't really good for women. Women don't benefit from being married to men. The comment section on this video is full of women who say this, happily married here. And I say this without weirdness, but if he dies first, and he knows this, LOL, I will not do it again. So many of the comments came from married women, women who claim to be happily married, who say they would never choose to live with a man again. And I think this speaks volumes about the dynamics that exist in our culture overall, right? When men get married, they expect their wife to take care of them, to cook for them, to clean for them, to take care of their children, to have children for them, and they go off and work. But in today's world, these women are also working. And so not only are they working full-time, but they are also expected to care for the home and the children and do exponentially more work in the home than their partner. And oftentimes these men have been raised without the information or expectation that they'll take care of the home themselves or take care of the kids. And so even when they try to help, they need need a list. They need her to tell him what to do. And it's exhausting for women. It's been shown that marriage isn't actually good for women. Women who are single do better than men. Also, having children isn't really good for women, right? We have the wage gap, the motherhood penalty, and the fact that having children can put women at a higher risk of financial troubles in the future, right? Marrying men, living with men, and having children doesn't quote unquote benefit women in the same way it does men, which is why so many women say they would never do it again. And that's also why so many men remarry so fast.
Y'all, statistically speaking, the worst thing a woman can do is marry a man. And no, that's not coming from bitterness or shade. That's sociological research. Let's talk about it. So according to decades of data, married women compared to single women are more likely to die sooner, make less money, be less happy, suffer from addiction, experience domestic violence, and even die by self-deletion or homicide. Meanwhile, married men, they get the exact opposite benefits. They live longer, they make more money, they're healthier, they're more respected, they're less lonely, and they rise in their careers. So it's called the marriage benefit imbalance. And this shit is not metaphorical. She literally gives a percentage of herself, and he gains that percent. Years, peace, sanity, even safety. It's a fucking life exchange. Like, hey babe, here's a chunk of my well-being. Enjoy your glow up. So my take, no. I'm not anti-love, but if love is supposed to be mutual, why does marriage feel like a net loss for so many women? Maybe the real issue isn't the idea of partnership. It's the way we've been taught to do it. What if, hear me out, we stopped centering marriage as the finish line and started designing relationships that actually center respect, reciprocity, and peace? Because we can't keep auditioning for a role that requires us to disappear. Not in this economy and not in this lifetime.
They'll never say it out loud, but watch the pattern. Many Black men build emotional intimacy with other men, loyalty, validation, vulnerability, and empathy. They share their dreams, their fears, and their frustrations with men. That's where they feel safe. But with women, it's surface, it's sex, it's control. Studies back this up. Research on homosocial bonding shows men consistently seek emotional connection from other men, while sociologists note they struggle with emotional intimacy with women. Black men are more likely to say they can't open up to their partners, but they freely open up to their boys. That's why so many women feel unseen, unheard, and untouched in spirit. The truth is, these men don't know how to love women. They desire women physically, but they like men emotionally. They treat women as a place to lay down, not a place to open up. And when you ask why the disconnect is so wide, it's because the real relationships they value are with men. Women get their bodies, men get their souls.
We could have been still fucking.
No, the fuck we could.
I asked her to record me, you know, personal.
Exactly.
On video, let's get that clear.
Exactly. Which
I asked
one?
her that. I told her to record me. So, you know, it's nothing.
Hurt bitch, and that dick broke. Egghead so happy cracked, that's why his ass got yoked. Dick couldn't make me come, he was knocked out, I'm in this bitch woke. Okay.
Ladies, if you meet a man whose prayers are not being answered, or it looks like he doesn't have any favor on his life because nothing seems to be working out, there's two things you need to know. Number one, he may not know how to treat women. 1 Peter 3:7 talks about how when a man doesn't honor his wife, his prayers do not get answered. And I can see, and you'll see it now wherever you go, a man that doesn't know how to treat women, his life is never quite where he needs it to be. In fact, for some men, it's really far away from where they want it to be. The second thing is that he may know how to treat women. He may know how to treat you. He may be a great gentleman who knows actually exactly how to honor his wife if that was to be you. But the problem is the past. Because we're human and we're all sinners. And if we were to get out of a relationship or if we were to close a season of our life, I highly recommend fasting, praying and repenting, taking full responsibility for your mistakes in that relationship, for your mistakes in that season of your life. If a man hasn't done that, if he's still in his season of my ex-wife was terrible and she did all these terrible things and she's still doing these terrible things, and he has not yet sat at the foot of the king and apologized for the times that he didn't steward her well, that he didn't honor her, that he didn't take care of her, that he didn't hold her when she wanted to cry, that he didn't listen to her when she was emotional, that he thought that she was crazy even though she was just sad. If he hasn't repented for that, he will still be carrying that. And that is why he doesn't have favor from the Lord. So those are the two things I want you to look at. You're going to be able to spot this, because when you say, well, what did you do wrong in the relationship? You'll hear beyond just words. Well, I should have done this better, I should have done that better. That's not really enough. What does that mean? What did you go through? What did you give to the Holy Spirit? What did you have to lay at the foot of the cross? Where did God pull you through suffering to get you walking with holiness? That's how you're going to know.
Stop trying to be the woman that's favored by all men, because all men are not going to favor you. When he have him some money, he's going to go after the woman he couldn't afford. While you sit there saying, but I was there. He don't give a damn. He scammed you.
56% of marriages end in divorce. Think about, that's the ones that end in divorce.
Wow.
So how many people, what percentage stay together for the kids? Or because they don't want to give away half their shit? Another 10%? That's conservative.
Conservative.
But let's say 20% then, okay?
That's at least.
You now have a technology that fails 76% of the time. That's insane. That's more likely than not. 76%. If I told you there's a 76% chance when you walk out the door today you're going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would not go out, or you'd wear a helmet for sure. But people just continue to get married. Not only do they continue to get married, there's a presumption that you should get married, and if you don't get married, there's something wrong with you.
Wow.
So if you've got a girlfriend and you've been with her for 5 years, and you say to someone, we're getting married, they go, oh, that's great. They don't go, why? You're happy. Why would you get married? Everything's going fine. Why would you put yourself through that? Why would you run that risk?
Wow.
If you say to someone, we've been together 5 years, and we've decided we're not going to get married. We're going to move in together, but we're not going to get married. Ooh, what's wrong? You have intimacy issues? What's your problem? Meanwhile, 56% end in divorce. It's literally fits the legal definition of negligent.
Just so you know how beneficial marriage is for men, they get married immediately after a divorce or after they lose their wives. In less than 6 months. 99% of them just get married again. Women, on the other hand, they don't get married again. If they lose their husbands or if they get a divorce, 90% of them don't get married again. Both my grandmothers, when they lost their husbands, they didn't get married again. And they weren't grandmothers yet. They were still very much in their youth. But men just immediately, they get married again. Immediately. As a matter of fact, they already know who they're going to replace the wife with. Women might get married for love, but men get married for your labor. And that's why that married man that you're having an affair with will never leave his wife, because free labor, why would he leave that for you? It's just a side piece. You'll never be able to take on all that workload that his wife takes on, so why would he leave that for you? What? Be so fucking for real.
For most women, there is no benefit to marriage, okay? Even statistics show this. Married women die sooner. They have more health issues. For most women, it's going to be a lose-lose situation when you decide that you are going to get married. If you are trying to get married, the only way marriage makes sense is if you are logistical. Most women are not logistical. Most women just want love. That's all they care about. You must be logistical if you're going to get married. You need to write up a prenup. I cannot believe that there are women that get upset about a man asking them for a prenup when you also can write up a prenup. Put a cheating clause in there. Men are guaranteed to cheat. You might as well have some monetary reimbursement for them cheating. So put a cheating clause in there. And as long as you have proof of him cheating, You are granted X amount of money in the prenuptial agreement. He needs to be a man that actually has something, right? He can give you land, a rental property, a home, something monetary so that dealing with him makes sense to you. But marriage for love should never be on the table. It should never be a reason why you would ever want to get married, because that's not real. So, yeah, marry rich, protect yourself, and get some form of reimbursement for a man being a man.
The worst thing a woman can do, statistically speaking, is to get married to a man. Married women do not live as long as single women. They do not earn as much money as single women. They are not as happy as single women. They are more likely to suffer from addiction than single women. They are more likely to commit suicide than single women. They are more likely to die of homicide than single women. They report themselves in every single way that you can measure sociological data for wellness as being less contented than single women. Conversely, married men, on the other hand, married to women, outperform single men by such a measure that it is perhaps the healthiest thing that a man can do is to get a woman to marry him. Married men live longer, they're healthier, they make more money, they advance more in their careers, they're more creative, they're less likely to commit suicide, they're less likely to die of homicide, they're less likely to die in car accidents, in every single possible way. The best thing a man can do is to get married to a woman. The worst thing a woman can do, statistically speaking, is to get married to a man, because what happens is it's called the marriage benefit imbalance. Those imbalances are exactly equal, meaning the percentage of herself that a woman gives to a man, she loses and he gains. So she's literally giving her life to him. Years of life, prosperity. It's a literal exchange.